Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Lynch, and I live in Guthrie, Oklahoma, which is located north of Oklahoma City in central Oklahoma. I've been here about 22 years now, and I think when most people think about Oklahoma, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that Oklahoma has an abundance of tornadoes. They happen every spring, sometimes in the fall, sometimes even in the winter. But recently, anyone who's lived in Oklahoma is thinking about the fact that, especially in central Oklahoma, we have had earthquakes. And they're not just little bitty earthquakes, they're earthquakes that you can actually feel. You hear them as they are coming towards your house, and it sounds like a truck driving up to you. You feel it hit the back of your house, and then it shakes the walls, and it stops. And it is one of the most unnerving events if you've never been in one. In all 22 years that I've lived here, the first time I felt one was 3 years ago. So, it's something that's starting to be quite frequent. We don't know why this is happening, and so a lot of people are asking questions. So, according to the Oklahoma Geological Survey, Oklahoma has an average of 50 earthquakes per year, and of those, only about half of them are actually measurable and that you can feel them. This year alone, in the month of February, we had 113 over a 1 week period. The largest documented earthquake in Oklahoma was April of 1952. It was a 5.5. It was in Lincoln County, Oklahoma, and it caused considerable damage. But since then, we haven't had anything big until the year 2011. And we do know that Oklahoma does have a large number of faults that run throughout the state. So it's not unusual to have these earthquakes, but the fact is they're just becoming more frequent, and they're actually a lot higher in intensity than they ever used to be. So, there's a lot of questions there as to why. Now, there was an article in CNN, and according to this article, on November 5th, 2011, there was another earthquake. And this earthquake actually measured higher than the one in 1952. It was a 5.6 on the Richter scale, and it was in eastern Oklahoma as well, and it did cause considerable damage once again. There were structure damages. There was also a highway, it was Highway 62, that buckled in 3 different places because of this earthquake. Luckily, there were no injuries to people, but once again, here we are wondering, okay, we haven't had these. It was, 50 years in between, and now we're having these earthquakes. So it's very unnerving, and since that time, they just have continued to increase in intensity and the number of them. Now, according to an article on time.com, there are some people asking, okay, so what is it that's causing these? Is it because we just have these faults, or is there something going on? And there are a lot of people that are looking at the oil and gas industry in Oklahoma City, or in Oklahoma in general. We have a lot of wells in Oklahoma, and there's 2 things they're looking at in particular. And the first thing is fracking or fracturing of a well. And that is when the oil and gas companies go in and they put explosives down in the hole that they've drilled. They set off the explosives, and these cause the different formations in the ground to open up and allow the oil and gas to flow. They're thinking, because they're opening up things that were not open, that it's causing the ground to shift otherwise, and maybe this is a possibility. The other thing are the injection wells in Oklahoma, and an injection well is taking the spent drilling fluid from when they drilled a well, and they're injecting it at a high rate of speed back into the ground for storage. So this too, because of what they're doing, they're thinking that this could possibly be something that's going on as well. But of course, if you ask any geologist that works with oil and gas wells, they're saying, this really should not have any effect. We've been drilling wells for years and years, and this has not happened. So, it comes back to what is going on. And I think because they've had so many, we do have a lot of seismologists in the state now that are looking at this more closely, and they're taking into account what's going on. They've put out more recording devices to see where they're happening and what's going on, and they're looking at where the drilling is to see if maybe it does have an effect, or it could just be the fact that we are in a living, breathing continent, and things are going to move. I mean, no matter what you think, there's always something going to happen, and things are going to move. So until we get a little bit more information, we're not going to know what it is. So I know for me personally, I look forward to finding out what it is, because it's no fun having those wake you up in the middle of the night. It would be nice for them to just be gone again. So, thank you.